If you're watching this video, it's possible that snails have appeared in your aquarium, you don't know what they are and you didn't even put them there. Don't worry, because in this video I'll show you the 5 possible snails that have snuck into your aquarium. How did these snails get into our aquarium? It's very simple, with plants. When introducing new plants, whether from a store or even from another hobbyist who sold them to us, who gave us a pruning or whatever, there may be a very small snail in those plants that we didn't notice and we put them in the aquarium. Or even more commonly, these leaves have snail shells. What happens? The snail shells, the most common ones, the ones we're going to see now, are almost invisible to the naked eye. So, we didn't realize it. We put those plants in our aquarium. A few days later they hatch, and a few weeks later they are quite large, and that's when we start to see them. We start by identifying snails, and in first place we have the melanoid tuberculata. It is a very resistant snail with an elongated shell, whitish, but with a more brownish color. They are very characteristic snails, since they bury themselves in the substrate. That's why it's very easy to have them. It's very easy for them to sneak into our aquarium, but we don't know it because they are rather nocturnal. These snails easily become pests, and the only advantage they have is that they oxygenate the roots of the plants and the substrate a little. Of all the possible snails that we are going to see, these are the ones that clean the aquarium glass the least, that is to say, they only cause a nuisance. Of course, it must be added that in Spain it is an invasive species, therefore we cannot have them. The next one is the fishes snail. It is a snail that can be found practically all over the world. It is a very small, very fast snail with a brownish color. There are even some that are more towards black. They are hermaphrodite snails, but they need at least 2 specimens to reproduce. And of course, if there is too much food, I assure you that you will fill the aquarium with fishes snails. The good thing about these snails is that they eat a little bit of everything, especially plants that are in poor condition, but they will not touch healthy ones. The next snail is the so-called false planorbis snail. It is a very, very small snail, and that can cause us problems because it can sneak through the filter inlet, reaching the motor and causing problems for the filter. The shape of the shell is a very, very flattened spiral. We could say that it is practically parallel to the substrate, to the ground, which makes it very easy to identify. These snails are scavengers, they eat everything, but they will not touch healthy plants. In number 4 we have the planorbis. It is perhaps the most common snail, and at the same time it is also the prettiest. I personally love them and I have an aquarium dedicated to them. The main characteristic of this snail is that it has very pretty colors. For example, we can have blue, pink, orange, red, brown. It's incredible how many colors it has, and they are very pretty. Of course, if they are overfed, if there is too much food in the aquarium, they also reproduce. They are hermaphrodite, and the moment there are 2, they can become quite a big plague in a few weeks. Like almost all snails, they are omnivorous scavengers, so they will eat everything. They will not touch healthy plants, but at least I have been able to identify it. I have suffered it in my own aquariums. They will eat the floating plant called Lignum lavigatum. They will eat that, although no, even if it is healthy, even if it is bad, they will eat it. They will destroy that one. They do not touch the rest of the plants. Finally, it's not a snail that can easily get into our aquariums, but it's possible, it's a possibility, and it's the killer snail. Why do I say that we can find this snail? Well, because maybe some hobbyist has snail problems, has introduced this snail into their aquarium, in their store, and there's a bet that it has reached the plant. That plant has reached our aquarium, and over time that snail has been born, so it's a possibility, and that's why I'm adding it to this list. The characteristic of this snail is that it's a snail that eats other snails. It's kind of yellow with black stripes, kind of like a wasp. And it's a very pretty snail. It burrows into the substrate, and that's its main characteristic. It eats other snails. It won't touch healthy plants and all that. It's a snail that's unlikely to plague us, since it needs 2 specimens, a male and a female. But anyway, I wanted to put it on this list because it can get into our aquarium like a pork rind, although rarely. Okay, and these are the snails that can end up in our aquariums. I hope this video has been useful to you and has taught you how to identify the possible snails you have in your aquarium. If so, don't forget to like it, subscribe, and share this video with all your friends. See you in the next video.